We can, thanks.
Okay, Mary, you're on. So I sent the minutes from the last meeting. We had asked her to come back. She had not given us full elevations of the house. So we asked her to return with those.
I'm gonna try to do share, okay? Okay, let's see.
Did it.
Yes, we asked her to return with pictures of all four sides of the existing home, full
Oh, that's-
renderings of the entire home to better understand the addition proposed. Okay, Mary.
Here we go. So this is the elevation you were asking about. So I changed. Is it too small? Wait, let me get it bigger. Can you see this?
Yes,
All right. So all the screens showing, the whole house is shown. This is the garage on the other end, which wasn't on before. That's at an angle. That's why it's a little bit oblique. Our addition's orthogonal. And you also asked about the concrete block at the bottom. So we removed those, let the posts go down, and it looks like a porch with lattice in the front. Because it's sloped on the other sides, they're still blocked. And then you asked about this portion. It's all siding now, facing north. And that's all corrected. The directions are corrected. Sorry about that. Here's the other side. You'll see the screen. So I believe those were the only issues. Am I right?
are those windows without the buttons, are those existing? In between?
Which windows? These guys?
Windows, yes,
They're existing. That was approved the last time when a prior edition. That's a sunroom, and those do not have muntins.
can you slide up please to the last elevation? The other
Oh.
way, I'm sorry, the other way.
Down? This
Yeah,
one?
Yeah, there it
This one is south end. That's really the rear. It's a strange property.
Is it all screened in the elevation? It looks like a different computer grid of textures. Is it
That's
all
because the sides are chamfered.
Ah,
That's on the angle. These two
Got it.
are on an angle, so they're tighter. When you-
yes, I remember that now.
Whereas this part is frontal. En face.
Okay, questions from anyone on the board? It's more clear now.
I mean,
No,
if you could address the concrete block issue we had, yeah, I'm good with it.
Hopefully to be visible.
I think it looks fine. Yeah.
Joe, any comment?
Yeah, I think it was good. I looked at it earlier. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Mary. We appreciate you working with us. You approved.
You're welcome. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too.
Mhm.
Now what do I do? I don't know how to leave the meeting.
Bottom right corner says leave.
Yeah. Oh, it's up here. Stop share.
Yeah, stop
Oh,
sharing.
that too.
Okay. Now I'm gonna leave. Good night.
Night.
Right?
All right. Next application is 37 King Street, house to home. We had asked Simon to return. We had asked him, hold on, let me just pull up.
Is this the old one or the new one?
Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
So you had asked me for a few changes The sign originally was to the right, above the door and the right window. And you had asked or suggested it be moved across on the left side above the 3 or triple window. Somebody had mentioned the lettering was too condensed, so I spread that out. The position on the building, I'm going to have it lower above where the existing fluorescent light is. And then have Swan Lights, again, as somebody had suggested, 4 Swan Lights to go over the top of that sign. And I hope that now meets your taste.
Can someone please show the last submission so we can compare them and see them?
Simon, do you have that? If not, I can
Um,
share the screen, but you'd have to unshare yours.
Okay, I don't have it easily. I'll unshare.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mhm. Is that-
Okay.
So that was the original.
All right, so the house to home was all crunched together, okay, over the door. Can you flip to the other one, Daisy? Is there a way you can flip back to the new one?
Do you want me to share again?
You're on mute, Daisy.
I'll go back to share.
Okay, so you pulled the words house and home away from the circle.
That
Right,
was Anne's suggestion. She said she wanted more air between the letters.
Right, I would agree. And what is the sign made of again? It's
So
aluminum.
it's aluminum with hidden fixings, so you don't actually see. You'll see the screws on the side edge, but no brackets.
It says 1 inch of protrusion from building. Is there sides to it? Are we going to see white sides? Are we going to see it on
It's
pins?
1 inch thick, so the aluminum is wrapped to 1 inch in depth.
And what are the letters made of?
I believe just vinyl.
And are you putting awnings on this building? Or are you leaving it looking
No.
the way it is with those lights?
No, but those lights are going to be removed.
They'll be removed.
Right. And then you or somebody had asked for or suggested the Swan Lights.
In the indirect lights, yes.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, indirect lighting, gooseneck lights or something. on
Gooseneck,
top?
sorry, yes. I'm just going to switch across to show you one I found online. Can you see that okay?
Yes.
That was just one option.
You probably want something where it's shining at the light at the sign as opposed to going straight down at the street.
Yes.
How big are those?
I would like to get something fairly small, about 12 inches. I'm not looking for something big.
And also, so for me, if you were to drop it down and center it between the second story windowsill and the top of the first story window and put some gooseneck lights, I think that would be acceptable. But I think we need to see it and we need to see what lights you really want, not just it's going to be close to this. I think you need to come back with a drawing that shows it where it is with the lights, where they're gonna be, and has a cut sheet of the light fixture, so we know what you're gonna install. That's my take, so I'll open it to the other board members for comments.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree. I
and-
think if you show the actual light fixtures, lower the sign, I think it'll be an easier sell for us to actually review and approve.
I'm gonna just then put a banner up for now and come back later.
Yeah, I think the sign, I think everything you responded to the sign and that looks fine. I do think we do need to investigate the lighting a little bit more. The spacing of the lights and how big they are in relationship to the sign.
Okay, then I'll put an application later on, and I'll put some banners up for now, I guess. Okay, thank you for your time, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Our next application is Frannie's Goodie Shop. And we have Dan and Michael on the.
Yeah,
Mike-
let me just bring up the application. You see,
Michael, are you the tenant or the sign company?
I'm the sign guy.
Oh, okay.
Dan is obviously the building owner, and I don't think we have the tenant here. No.
Okay.
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 Okay, give me just a second to bring up the presentation. Share screen. And as always, where did it go? Oh, here. Share. Okay. So I don't think you have to see the application form. So let me quickly show you what we are talking about, and then I go back to the details. Okay, everybody sees the front of the building?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so we are right now talking about Frannie's Goodie Shop. And the position, remember last time we talked a little bit about which sign is going where. And this is right now the proposed location for the Frannie's sign at the front elevation. I will show you the rear elevation a little bit later. I put into this the Chappaqua building signage, which we talked about, I think about 4 weeks ago. But currently, as I said, focusing on Frannie's. And I show you the details. We are talking about flat cut acrylic letters, about 1/2 inch thick. With metal pins attached to the building. You see the side view and the method of attachment down here. The logo here is a acrylic panel, same thickness, with a digital print. So cut to shape with a digital print. These letters, as you can see, are about 11 inches tall, talking about the capital letters here. The color is actually a burgundy, which is taken from the background color of the logo, so that it harmonizes. At the rear of the building, scrolling down, oops, lost it. The position of the sign, same material, same execution, will be placed centered over this window. And again, I put in here the Chappaqua building as discussed during the meeting late February.
And that
I
window
open it,
that
and I
window
open.
is the store that they'll be in. That's the space that tenant will be in. Is that correct?
Yes. The tenant will be in this section of the building. So this is actually the window.
Where's the door for that space? Do they go in the door to the right and then go to the left?
Actually, the door to the space, if I am not mistaken, you know, there is that breezeway, and the entrance to that part of the building is actually through that pathway that connects the rear and the front of the building.
Are any signs going to be proposed for the breezeway or on the wall?
Sorry?
Are any signs being proposed for the breezeway or in the breezeway? Any
I
identification at the door?
do not have that information right now. I would assume that there will be maybe a small plaque or something that indicates that that's the entrance to this establishment.
Okay, but you're not asking for approval of anything up there now?
Sorry?
Okay, I'm assuming you're not asking for approval for anything in the breezeway, that somebody will come to us when they want to put that up?
Yes. We are not asking for any approval on the inside, on that breezeway right now.
And Tom, if we consider this application, we're going to be commenting or approving on just that sign, not anything else shown on the drawing.
We are currently, I'm here specifically for Frannie's Goodie shop. And as I said, the Chappaqua building was discussed. And if I remember correctly, Daisy, that was approved because that was only a move in terms of the location of that sign.
That
That's
sign,
what-
yes, that sign was approved and Bentley Jane was approved.
Yes.
But Bob, are you asking Tom another question?
No, I just want to make sure, because I think we've talked about this before, when on one hand, it's nice to see all the other signs in the elevation instead of just one plastered in isolation, but if, local obviously is going away. And so I just
Yes.
want to make sure where this application is solely for Frannie's signage, even though others.
This application is solely for Frannie's Goodie shop. That is correct.
All right, comments from the board? I think it looks fine. I'm satisfied with it.
No, it looks great. I think it's, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that. The location is definitely appropriate, which is, I think, a comment we've had about some of the other signs. I mean, it's just one man's opinion, so take it for what you will. But I mean, I think a concern that the board has had about this building and the number of signs that are going to be placed on the front is that it could look a bit cluttered, non-cohesive, whatever you want to call it. And one way around that, again, one man's opinion, is to have some uniformity across all the signs in terms of, say, like a color. And I know each brand has their own color, right? But if I'm not mistaken, both the Bentley Jane and the Mathnasium, as well as your Chappaqua building signs, all have a healthy dose of black. And in my opinion, what would look a lot better for this is, if you put the Frannie's Goodie shop text itself in the same black as all the other signs are, they can have their purple, magenta, whatever you want to call it, pink logo there. A little splash of color is fine. If I'm remembering correctly, Mathnasium has a splash of color with a red A+. But this does stand out to me a little bit as the one sign of all the ones that are going on this facade so far that has absolutely zero black in it. And in my opinion, keeping everything as it is, but putting just literally that Frannie's Goodie shop text in black, that alone would be a huge improvement. And I think if you carry that through with all the other ones, principally black, letting the brand have its own color a little bit here or there, the whole facade is going to look much more cohesive.
Can I comment?
Please.
In terms of, I think the name is Bentley Jane, right? The interior designer. That sign, I think, was approved on a separate meeting with a separate sign company. But that sign, as well as Mathnasium, just coincidentally, I think their logo colors are black with a splash of red. I think Bentley Jane had a red heart or something somewhere. Mathnasium has I think the A and the T, the stylized T, are in red. So while I hear you, I just want to point out that I think in both cases, it is a coincidence that that's their colors. And I don't know, obviously, I can't comment on, I think there's 2 other tenants that have not yet put in an application for signage, and I don't know what that is going to look like. And I can't say if that is possible, if that will make sense. I just want to point that out, that, yeah, as I just said, Mathnasium and Bentley Jane just have naturally those colors. And I don't know what's coming. And again, that's not part of my my assignment so far.
Yeah, sure. I mean, ultimately, I think it's like well, it's a programmatic decision for you guys, like what you and the developer want to do, right? Like if you guys want to tell them, look, have a healthy dose of black in there, it's something you can tell them to do, right? And and at least as far as this board goes, going one application by one application, I guess the concern that I have is, that whoever takes the local sign, right, they show up and they want something, neon green, and then you've got 3 predominantly black signs, a purple sign, a neon green sign, and then it's just like, it's a bit of a hodgepodge and a free-for-all. And you guys, again, I think it's to your own benefit, right? If you could say to prospective tenant that's going to come in there and want that neon green text because that's their corporate logo, be like, no, you can have your font, you can have a little splash of green or something, wherever you want, but we want a healthy dose of black on these signs, because look, 3 of the 4 that are, they're all, again, it's just not going to withhold an approval on this, but I think it's something you all should seriously consider, because it's not going to look good if you already have 3 approved signs that are predominantly black, and then you just start having that matched with like a purple and a yellow and a neon green, and it's just a mess. I think it would do the building a lot of service for you all to impose some dose of discipline on the signs and say, look, I'm not saying all black, they don't have to look like the Chappaqua building sign, but put some black in there so that there's some cohesion from sign to sign.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even remember what were the Chappaqua building letters. Were they stainless steel or?
No, they are as well, 1/2 inch thick black acrylic.
Okay. All right.
So as far as I'm aware, Mathnasium, Bentley Jane are all of the same material, and therefore there is some type of red thread running through the sign. So it's not like you put up a panel, you put up whatever other way of building your sign. They are all flat cut acrylic.
Well, maybe it is a coincidence, but would you consider, being that the first couple of tenants came in principally with black, making that kind of a reasonable standard for the building?
Well, I mean,
would Frannie be willing to have black letters and a colored logo?
Let me answer that, and I don't mean to be curt, but the answer is no, because every tenant, again, likes to have their own identity, and ironically, making every single tenant be all black signage, ironically, makes the signage look homogeneous. And again, that's not what we're trying to do here. Every tenant must have their own individual identity, and we're talking about such subtle differences here in black and maroon. I mean, it's like, it's just trivial what we're talking about. And I mean, if Frannie's, they want their sign in burgundy, it's like, let them have their sign in burgundy. And again, we may have tenants come in here that they've no black in their logo whatsoever. Are we going to tell them that they must have black again? And that makes it, for ironically, just more homogenous. I think we're going, the wrong way if we do that.
Well, respectfully, I disagree, Dan. I mean, again, it's a decision you can make, but one, I think other members of the board have done their own research and found that Frannie's has signs that are like green in Mount Kisco. So this purple or magenta or whatever, it's not Frannie's corporate color. So let's put that out the window. Second, it's a different font. And I'm saying it's fine for them to have their logo and their whatever that whole element on the left is in purple. No one's saying every tenant needs to take the font and the black color of the Chappaqua building sign and replicate that. We're literally talking about exact same font, Frannie's Goodie Shop that's in magenta now, and making it black. And again, you know, as this is now, this doesn't look.
Yeah,
And whoever is going to take
yeah,
the local
I
space
hear
has
ya.
like a bright neon green sign. I mean, that actually doesn't look good. So I disagree with you that it should be a free for all where every tenant should just come in and say,
Right,
well, I want
right.
this color.
I hear you. I hear you. You're saying, you know, it doesn't look good. And again, like you started the your point with, you know, it's your opinion, and
Yeah.
I get it, and I respect your opinion, but I got to have these tenants, you know, have their own individuality, and you know, I don't want to. It's like I don't know what else to say. You know, I'm
Well,
sorry.
yeah, no, that's fair. And again, I mean, I'm mostly looking forward to what's going to, because this is an important one, the Frannies, because this is the one that we're talking about so far that's not black, right? And it's going to set the precedent for the next conversation we have where whoever's filling up the local space wants something else, right? And look, I'm a commercial guy. I get you. Everybody needs to have their own identity. You know, look at Arthur Ashe Stadium, right? Those are all big corporate sponsors. None of them have a color, right? Every single corporate logo that's at the US Open or frankly at Fenway Park as well, it's a uniform color. It's their font, their brand, but it's white on green in the case of Fenway Park, or it's white on the dark blue at Arthur Ashe. So there's plenty of precedent for much bigger corporations than Frannie's adopting their logos to an aesthetic look that suits the venue. Again, as I said,
You're right.
one man's opinion. I'm not going to
There is
harp on it anymore,
precedent.
but
Yes,
it's not the case that just because Frannie's Goodie Shop's color is magenta, which by the way it's not, we just have to say, oh well, now we're going to have a purple sign because that's Frannie's Goodie Shop color. That's
Yes,
not true. And again,
right. There's certainly precedent in major league sports stadiums, but in the town of Chappaqua, there's not. I mean, you go to Chappaqua Crossing, everybody's got their own colors, their own sign, their own font. I mean, I don't know why we should be held to a different standard.
I actually don't think that's the case at the signs when you enter Chappaqua Crossing. I'm not 100% sure about that, but I'm fairly certain if you look at each of the signs at the entry, it's actually kind of pretty similar to Arthur Ashe and the US Open.
You're talking about a monument sign. I'm talking.
Yeah.
So you're comparing a monument sign to building signage. On the building signs in Chappaqua Crossing, you have Chase with their font and their colors. You have Compass with their font and their colors. You have Whole Foods with their, so.
And they're all way farther apart than the signs on this building. Again, going back to the concern that this board has had, that this facade could get too cluttered, right? And if you want to compare to Chappaqua Crossing, that's not a concern with those facades there. So I don't think it's an.
I don't want to compare.
Let's not debate anymore. It's been done. It's been done different ways. Both having individual colors and logos and having standard colors and logos have both been done, both successfully, both unsuccessfully, all over the place. So it's two opposite ways of approaching it. They've both been done. So let's not debate it. It's a fact, right? So if this board wants to make a decision that it doesn't want to have variation in color and stuff, then that's something that we should discuss as a board. But let's not debate which is better or different. We hear you, Dan. We understand that you want to go in your direction. So
I just want to make a quick comment. Is it redundant to have Frannie's Goodie Shop, the text, and the logo that says Frannie's Goodie Shop as well? I think a compromise would just be to keep the text and get rid of the logo. This way it doesn't look like two separate logos.
I mean, I think that would certainly be a strong request, to be honest, because I think that logo gives a little bit of personality to everything, because that in the end has, you know, some colors there, makes it young, makes it fresh. I mean, if you reduce it to just text, I think that's going to be, very bland. I mean, the Chappaqua building, I guess that's assigned to identify the building, doesn't need a logo, but to reduce Frannie's Goodie Shop just to the text, I think that would be certainly not representing the business with its personality and design. I mean, I hear your point, but that's.
What if it was the other way around? Just keep the logo that says Frannie's Goodie Shop. This way it's nice, simple, clean. Doesn't create cluster on the signage band.
However, I mean that's going to be it's going to be very small because again we only have 24 inches to play with. I mean, you will end up with a sign with an oval that is maybe 48 inches wide, and I mean the lettering, the text on that logo is small.
Yeah, Starbucks has their sign written out and their logo. It's very common all over the world.
Both types are common. Okay, one
Right.
is not more common than another. There are plenty of instances
There
where
are.
it's done the way that
Absolutely
you
right.
don't prefer. So let's not argue that back and forth.
No, you're
Both-
absolutely right. They're both very common.
Travis?
But I mean, at the same time, I mean, we cannot compare Frannie's to Nike or Starbucks because I mean, we know the swoosh. You don't need to say Nike. I mean, if you see the round Starbucks logo, you don't need to say Starbucks. Everybody knows, but they have invested hundreds of millions, billions of dollars over the years in advertising and promotion. I mean, if you reduce Frannie's Goodie Shop just to that oval logo, I don't think that will be, identifying specifically from a distance. I mean, you will see you will see something, but you will not recognize and know that is Frannie's.
Yeah, I think the logo is part of their branding too. That's on their cups and everything
Yeah,
else.
I mean,
I don't really have a problem with it. I think it actually adds something. I mean, if we're just going to get to the point where we're just putting typeface up there, I think I actually think it adds something. The logo or the little emblem. So.
I'm okay with it. Look, there is something to be said with uniformity in a building that's large enough that have multiple tenants. I think there's something nice when there's a signage program inherent to the building as opposed to just giving everybody the real estate, letting catch as catch can. And then sometimes you get unfortunate coincidences when a couple of tenants come in, for example, with consistent black signs, and then you've got 80% of the sign band that looks uniform when it's an accident, and then you've got one magenta sign. But I do understand. I'm in the real estate business, why a landlord wants to give freedom to their tenants and all that. So I understand both sides of the coin. So I'm okay with it. With some reservations. I think Brendan has a good idea, but I'm okay with it. So
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Joe, Brendan, you guys.
I mean, again, it's one man's opinion. I'm fine with it too. I'm just mostly concerned what's going to come down the pike and how this thing's going to look at the end of the day if we don't. But look, it's fine.
Well, the alternative is for us to say the building needs to have uniform signage standards and don't come to us with individual signage until you've got a program for the building. But we've kind of broken that already.
Yeah, no, I mean, it would have to be kind of like a gentleman's agreement type thing here. Like, look, what we want to see is mostly some strong black element. We don't want showing up with like a purely neon green sign in the future. But if that's not where we're at, I'm fine with it. Again, we don't need to hold this up anymore.
Okay. Joe?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
All right, again, I think the message, what we're approving it, but Michael and Dan, you know, when you come back with other applicants, you know, give thought to what we're saying before you present it to us and try the best you can to have some sort of the best level of, you know, composition with the building signage as opposed to just completely splashing, you know, arbitrary things next to each other. And I know that tenants always ask for certain things, but sometimes if you put guidelines on them, they'll be okay with it if they understand that too.
Absolutely. Thank you.
With that, you're approved.
Thank you.
Good night.
Can I stop sharing or any
Yes,
other
please.
question? Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Any other questions or am I excused?
You're excused. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everybody.
Take care.
1 Pondfield Drive South, Scott Herson is on.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Terrific. So thank you, Daisy, for your introduction. We are here tonight to present a small addition of 73 square feet to the rear of 1 Pondfield Drive South. This house is, for the ARB, the aerial, the Google Earth view rather, the subject property backs to Gary Drive. It was, I believe, originally a caretaker's cottage to the house that is on Sabina Road, but you access our property on Pondfield Drive South. We are a flag lot with the home tucked behind 3 Pondfield Drive South. So the, as I mentioned, the addition is on the rear of the house. The M8 view is the existing front of our house. And I'm going to scroll down to, I'm going to jump ahead to my existing and proposed elevations to walk you through what we're doing here. So this is the existing south elevation of the house. There is an existing family room that comes off the side with a brick chimney. There is an existing casement window above a bulkhead that is then part of an original screen porch. The house had a rather substantial renovation by the previous owner, give or take 20 years ago. And this porch predates that project. So our project is squaring out that porch corner. So we are infilling that corner as part of a kitchen renovation. So if I were to spin to the north, the existing side elevation, and I know it might be a little bit confusing because of the gambrel roof, but there is actually like a shallow pitch roof with an existing railing above the side where you have 2 casement windows. And then beyond it, you actually see the screen door that is that porch that we'll be removing. And here is our new 3-part casement window, fixed center panel, which is at the kitchen sink, and the new set of stairs down to the existing deck. This is our front elevation of the existing house. The one minor additional tweak that we are making is to flip the location of the entry door and the adjacent double hung window. And if you'd like, I can show you the plan so that you see how all those pieces come together.
Can you go back and forth between the front elevations for a minute just to see the old and new? Can you slide up and down? Just there.
So here's the existing. And what we're looking at is there's a metal roof, a shallow pitch metal roof at this gable end, and we're just flipping the door and window underneath it.
Thank you.
And if it helps, I can also do the same thing again, just to show you the, zoom out a little bit. I don't want to make it too small, but this shows you the full page.
Yeah, that is better.
And then here's the plan, just showing you where we are building out this new box bay that you see from the side. There's the chimney to the left, our new landing down to the existing wood deck. And I apologize, it appears I actually did not explain the rear elevation. I will show you for a second that the rear elevation, as you can see, we are placing a range on the back wall of the house, and it is flanked by symmetrical windows that are centered off of that range. So I will take a moment just to show you the rear elevation, because I realized that I did not show that to you. I apologize. So here is the existing rear of the house, where there are two sets of casement windows that are separated by a dropped beam. And to the right of that is a flat roofed, screened in area porch off of the existing house. And this is where we are squaring out the back with our new glass door and those symmetrical windows. And the existing roof will be extended across to catch the end of the gambrel roof.
Comments, anyone? Seems pretty straightforward to me.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks good. Complicated little 73 square feet.
It is a big project, so, but get a nice new kitchen out of it. So.
Yes, we have a couple of pieces of steel coming our way.
All right, thank you, Scott.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Good night, Scott. Okay. So we have our last application for Chestnut Market. Hello? Hello? Beatrice?
Yes.
Or Micah? Are you guys here for 208 Sawmill River Road?
No, I was here with Scott, her son.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah,
That's okay.
sorry.
Nope, I'm just listening in. I'm not for this property.
I'm sorry?
Mike is the applicant for the board.
Oh, hi, Micah.
Hello.
Okay, so I think we have a no-show on the sign for the gas station, which Tom might be a good thing, being that they may need planning board approval.
Very, very true that they are going to need planning board approval. It's in their site plan.
Okay.
So they'll be back to you, but they have to go through the planning board.
Mike, if you want to join us for a minute, if we're finished, I can introduce you to the group.
Sure. How is everybody?
How are you?
Sure.
Very nice to see everyone.
Oh, you're out. Okay.
I am on the train home this evening.
Oh, you're on the train. Okay, so it's not great. All right. Well, you know, for people who are interested in joining our board, you know, I had a conversation with Mika and asked her to sit in on a couple of our meetings to see, you know, what we do and who we are, and you know, and then we can have a conversation as a group if it makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. Daisy, have you heard from Sarah like in ever? No, I haven't either. So.
No.
Okay. All right. When's our next meeting?
April 6th.
April 6th, what, 2 weeks?
Thanks, April.
Yeah, April 6th.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good
And
rest of the week.
we have applications already, so.
Before we leave, the open meetings law ends April 15th. So next week may be our last Zoom capable meeting.
We don't have choices. I thought Daisy was given a choice. This is all by the governor's order, so to speak.
It's the governor's order. Sabrina had asked me to email you guys to find out what your thoughts were. So I did tell her that half would like to stay and the other half is okay either or. So so hopefully the town will allow us to continue Zoom. Otherwise, we may be back by the 15th.
And what are the governor's orders in terms of if it were back in public, the last time we were back in public, it was kind of silly, I thought, because we were in public, but everybody else was on television.
Yeah.
And no, none of the applicants were in town hall. Is it getting to a point where everybody would be in town hall, including the applicants? Is that being considered?
That I'm not sure about. That will probably have to be discussed. Because I did ask her that and she was not sure. So I think hopefully it'll be up to the town to decide if we can continue Zoom or not.
Yeah, when I'm on the other side of the table, most towns are still on Zoom, but some of them are totally in person where we have to go in person like the old days. And there's
Yeah.
no logic to it. It seems to be the choice of the town as of now. So,
Yeah, I believe town board is back in. Tom, do you know, or planning board?
Town board was in session, yes, in person.
Mm-hmm. So,
all right, let us know.
All right.
All right.
Do we want any consideration to moving the meeting to 7:30 like we had done at one time, or to retain the 8 o'clock?
Well, I can say for me, I work in New Jersey. I've got a solid hours commute, and I'm in the office kind of right now, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm home Monday and Friday working, and I can't get home for 7 o'clock or 7:30. I know that
Understood.
I wouldn't be able to do it. And in the days when we were all working at home, it was easy to do an earlier meeting, but with commuting, it's too challenging for me. I don't know.
Understood.
okay.
All right. Thank
So
you
we
all.
will see you April 6th. Have a good night.
Take
Thanks,
care.
everybody. Bye.
Thanks, bye.
Bye, Micah.